they found in David's phone at his court date today made everybody in the room stomach turn. It was horrifying. This degenerate freak really murdered that little girl and thought he was never gonna get caught.
Nasty fuck face. Look at this little nasty little weird boy. He don't even know what he likes. He likes little girls and big boys. He was at Diddy's parties.
Thought he committed the perfect crime. He thought, I mean, there's no evidence. He cleaned up his tracks good enough. He thought they was never gonna find out. He was never gonna get arrested, and that's evident by how he was moving. Celeste was murdered according to officials back in April of 2025. I think she was murdered much longer before then, but if we're going with the official timeline, she was murdered back in April. She wasn't discovered dead until September. He had about 6 months to clean up his tracks, and he thought he did a good enough job. He wasn't officially charged with anything until April of 2026. That means that's the entire year since he murdered Celeste. Now, he knew he was under investigation since September. That means he knew he was under investigation for about 6 months. But, you know, his arrogance didn't really allow him to think that he was gonna get caught, because when he was eventually arrested, this dude has so much evidence on his phone, not of what he did to Celeste, but of other things that you would think that if somebody knew or had expectation they was gonna get arrested for something this horrific and
this
knew their
man
phone was gonna be a pivotal
part. Bro, you're gonna leave all the evidence in your phone, bro? Actually, we want him to get caught.
Good job, my brother. We rocking with you.
Cause I'm not even mad that he's like, bro, you're, oh my god, you're one of the worst human beings, and you're also one of the dumbest. And it should have been, I mean, you didn't have to do this to prove that. What you did in the first place, prove that.
They would at least clean up their phone, but this dude was so arrogant and so cocky, he didn't even bother to even touch or erase his phone or erase illegal things from his phone.
Oh, a hearing just wrapped up for singer David in his first-degree murder case.
The prosecution revealed details about disturbing digital evidence. Let's get to CBS LA's Rick Montanez with what we learned in court today. Rick, what are you hearing?
Amy, Chris, the hearing just wrapped up within the half hour here, and cameras were not allowed in court, but I can tell you that the defendant, David Burke, was in court today in shackles and wearing that orange jumpsuit. The biggest new piece of evidence revealed, prosecutors say a significant amount of child found on Burke's cell phone. We also want to point out that this all happens one day after the medical examiner's report became public. That is the report on the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The report says, or I should say the family of Rivas Hernandez is absolutely devastated to learn the gruesome details contained in that write-up. That's according to a family statement. So this report says the 14-year-old girl died of sharp force trauma, but the autopsy was difficult because of the severe decomposition of her dismembered body when it was found in the singer's abandoned
Tesla. Look at this sick weirdo. Look at him. Look at him. Don't act like you don't give a fuck. He didn't kill that little girl. You sick, deranged, you little.
September. Officials say she died 5 months earlier in April of last year. Burke, the suspect known by his stage name David, was arrested last Thursday. On Monday, he pled not guilty to the capital murder charges. We spoke with a former federal prosecutor just a short time ago here on CBS LA Mornings about this new evidence revealed in today's hearing and the fact that David's phone, according to prosecutors, contains child.
And obviously, we don't know if it's Celeste Rivas's images and videos or something else, but that is a significant offense. Obviously, it helps prosecutors prove the sex crimes, the lewd and lascivious, Penal Code Section 288, but it's also a separate crime in and of itself. And it's certainly the possibility that the feds even step into this case because they typically will prosecute these types of child cases.
They described it as a phone full of child porn. Now, am I surprised that this weirdo who's currently on trial?
Absolutely not. We're not surprised that he had that
activities.
No,
with a 14-year-old girl.
No, he's a weirdo
because she was going to.
He's been a weirdo. Come on, Flacco, we know that.
That person has a phone full of child porn, have gigabytes of child porn. I'm not surprised at all. Right? Not one bit.
You knew that,
right? Not one bit. I feel like what's even more surprising is that it wasn't deleted or it wasn't gone. that he really thought he was safe. Like, he really thought they was never coming for him. There's no evidence more clear that he thought he was never going to get caught and he was Teflon Don than his neighbors complaining that he was doing too much partying. And this was happening during the investigation. Like, Celeste's body was found. They went to a grand jury. They was like interviewing people, trying to get a murder's charge on him. And he was at his hideout home in the Hollywood Hills partying and having a good old time while they investigating this little girl's murder.
Then today, NBC4 Investigates obtained surveillance video that appears to show the defense attorney near the police scene minutes later. This afternoon, Blair Burke returned to the home where police arrested the singer and made no comments as she left.
The DA?
One neighbor actually told me that he's relieved that there was an arrest because he said that there have often been parties at this home. I asked if he's heard parties here recently. He said it's an ongoing problem. Either way, on Monday, we're expected to get our first look at David as he's expected in court in person in downtown Los Angeles.
I'm more interested in knowing who the clout whores and monsters were that were still hanging out and partying with this dude, because he can't party with himself. If there were parties, there were other people there. Who were the people that were still comfortable partying with this dude, knowing like,
a whole bunch of other freaky weirdos? Like, how do you think Epstein had an island? I don't know why we keep asking these questions. Like, bro, all the people in the neighborhood knew he was a fucking pedophile before. So why are we sitting here acting like there's not a bunch of people who will probably sit down and chill and smoke and drink and relax with this man and probably get into the same freaky retarded habits as him?
For what he did to Celeste. Like, even if you want to say, hey man, I didn't know that he actually murdered her, I thought it was all lies, but you knew he was still having relations with this little girl and you were still comfortable partying. The only people who I see really comfortable partying with someone like David are people who believe they are like David, or people who have similar interests or secrets like David.
What I just say,
why I believe, man.
What I say every video, you low-key don't need to watch Flacco, but I need y'all to watch Flacco and watch me, okay? Do you understand? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like and comment right now. Make sure you hit that link in the description. If you good sir, have debt. Yes, you have debt, credit cards, medical bills, and student loans. Why aren't you clicking that link in the description today? You need to get out of your debt as soon as possible with no obligation.
Good job, my brother. We rocking with you.
That anybody at that party actually did something, man, they need to be under investigation. Like, they need to be put on a registry, man. David friends. We need to know who his friends were so people can stay away from him, bro. Because it's not like they was partying with him before her body got discovered. No, right? These were parties that started happening after David came back to LA after going to Texas briefly to hide out. This was in the middle of the investigation. There needs to be a list of names that are part of David's entourage and his network of people, because I'm not buying David is doing all these things alone. The same way they try to get us to buy that he murdered Celeste by himself, that Celeste came over to his house on, I think, April 23rd or 24th, and he murdered her, and then she was never to be seen again, and he's the one who did all of this by himself. I'm not buying that, bruh. Especially after seeing the autopsy report and found out exactly what happened.
Either way, it would have to at least be one other person involved, because he didn't drive the car to the lot. But let's not include the whole families that knew that this young lady was missing way before they even had to get together a whole crew of people who also know about the crimes that took place to get rid of the young lady. Let's not talk about that, right?
I don't think David was able to do this himself, then hop on a plane the next day to go and party and have an album roll out and start his tour, and nobody was there to help him either hide his body, chop up this body, dismember this body, and hide it for him. I don't think David, who was on an active tour, was actively hiding and moving Celeste's body all across Los Angeles County, bruh.
Just received the autopsy report from the medical examiner in Celeste Rivas's death, for which David is now charged with her murder. And there are some interesting things, and we talked about this before, that we knew that the coroner had ruled this, and the medical examiner ruled this a homicide. But we didn't know the cause of death. And the DA said they were stabbed, there was some kind of sharp
instrument was used.
Now we know, and what they're saying is there were 2 wounds in particular, and that they believe, and they use the word may, and the word may is going to be really important, which we'll talk about, that they may be penetrating wounds, which would not be wounds
to
dismember a body.
Right, because of where they are, they believe, is I think the main, and also
and the way they describe it is they describe 2 penetrating wounds, one on the abdomen and one on the chest, and they describe them as, they tell you the depth and the length of these, and they say they have smooth edges. Indication seems to me that some sort of knife was plunged into her and it left smooth edges.
So he like was on top of her type shit, and we're like either went like this or like
smooth edges.
The key is the length of the wounds. One is 3/4 of an inch, one is 9/16. So this size wound as the penetrative wound. These are
which
not,
is an indication of the length of the blade.
It's also a blade that could not dismember a body, right? This would not be the same instrument used to dismember the body.
Now, the body was dismembered. They describe all that in detail, but those types of cuts to take the body apart would be different than
does the report say anything about the dismemberment or what they believe was used?
They don't say what was
used. No, it does describe it in a lot of detail.
But it's gruesome.
I don't know what your religion is, but this case is proof that some of us didn't come from heaven. Now, we got to give that up, man. I don't think God had created all of us, man. I think the devil had a hand in some of us being created.
He absolutely did. He had a hand in all of our creation. And see, when you realize that we are gifted with free will, right? And that's why these are God's creations as well. So was the devil. Free will. It was all about the free will. Once a human was given free will, anything could happen. So it's not a question of, oh, will it happen? It's more so when. When will somebody be ready to do it? People are always gonna be out here being weirdos. It's just when is that when is that one weirdo gonna go ahead and just do it? That's all you're waiting for. David was the one weirdo who did it right now and got caught, because a lot of weirdos be doing a lot of this stuff and we just do not hear about it, because either they already got too much money, they got the right tone, or shoot, they lucky. Let's see.
Anybody who is capable of this, truly imagine what just happened here. Stabbed up some. First off, to take somebody's life by a knife, you gotta have some level of like psychoness in you, bruh. To take somebody's life with a knife is quite possibly one of the most personal things you could ever do. It's traumatic. It's not easy. You are feeling their life leave their body with each and every stab. He still will be a disturbed human being if he would have did it by shooting her or, I don't know, drugging her. But to do it with a knife and to feel that person's soul leave their body, it does something to the average person, bruh. The fact that this dude was able to hop on a plane, go ahead and party, have a good old time laughing, great poker face as if nothing happened the day before.
It's fucking
come
crazy.
Back and hop on tour and have a tour.
It's ridiculous, y'all. Y'all gotta do a lot better, bro. Like, why is he playing in our goddamn grocery stores? Why is he just doing all this nonsense, playing in our face as the civilians? We pay tax dollars so the police can do what? Pull us over for speeding? No. Pull us over for what? They need to take his ass to fucking jail, and they need to prove in the court of law why clearly he did the crime. Like, we don't, I mean, honestly, bro, can we just start locking, like, it'd be like, can we do a mass vote by, like, just a mass vote? And if it gets more than enough partitions, that person gets locked up for whatever crime that the mass voted for. That's low-key fire. That's real democracy, y'all.
With blood-filled shirts at his tour dates, singing songs like Romantic Homicide that essentially describes what happened, but the music was filmed before. The fact that his mentor was able to handle all of this tells me this is not a normal human being. This is somebody who we truly have to acknowledge in the likes of like Ted Bundy. Because when you see him interact with other people, rather it's on stream or during these interviews, he's soft-spoken, he's charming, has a bright smile. we truly have to start considering, David might be like Ted Bundy. And if he was able to do this so easily, if he was able to conceal this little girl's death for so long, imagine who else he did it to. If y'all think that, after hearing what you're about to hear, of limbs being missing, fingers being cut off, if you think that Celeste is his only body, I think y'all are out of your mind.
And so there's a word that's used, may, that it may have been caused by this. The defense is going to jump on that.
Oh, they'll definitely.
Because they're not saying it's conclusive, and it aligns with what we've been hearing, which is they were having a really hard time determining how she died.
As recently as February.
As recently as February.
Right.
Yeah. The passage of time to determine this is a long, it's many, many months.
There's also, and it's conflicting, and we still can't quite figure it out.
Yeah, how do you figure that out if they've already been, well, obviously, the stab wounds kind of make sense. Like, if they have 2 stab wounds in the abdomen, maybe those killed them first. But I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor or scientist or anything. But I would like to know, maybe somebody in the comments can comment, what do they do? Like, how do they determine a death after somebody's been cut up or decomposed or something along those lines? Like, the body is not recognizable to the same state it was when they passed. Like, what do they do to actually figure that out? All my criminology majors, let me know in the comments down below.
It out. But there are references to finding presumptive positive indications that she had both meth and MDMA in her system.
Although additional screenings showed that to be not detected, but
like
the initial screen said presumptively.
It seems like there were 2 tests taken, 2 tox screens. The initial one detected MDMA and methamphetamine. Subsequently, they did a confirmation test, and it was unclear whether there was MDMA, but methamphetamine, but no sign of MDMA at that second confirmation test.
I mean, ultimately, is that going to matter when you get to trial, like whether or not she was
probably
on
not
any drugs?
Well, they may argue. They may argue it was an overdose. I don't know what they're going to argue, but they'll latch onto what they can.
That's true.
But look, I covered the O.J. Simpson case. The coroner was on the stand for 8 days in that case. So this is going to be the centerpiece of the case because, what the DA is saying is, we have evidence she threatened David that
Amada Day OJ's a pedophile.
She would expose their relationship, probably in a text. That's the way they make it seem. And that she goes to David's house on April 23rd, 2025, never to be seen again.
Right.
So now the question, what happened? So the prosecutor's going to say he stabbed her to death. And here are these 2 wounds. And then you're going to have the defense coming out and saying,
No.
May. And this is a reasonable doubt case.
The medical examiner also released their reports, and I'll be real, bro. Seeing this, man, I don't see how anything other than a death penalty is appropriate here, bro. So they confirmed 2 things. She was missing both arms above the elbows and both legs above the knees.
Oh my God!
Underneath the body bag was a black trash bag that contained the descendants' apparent compiled bilateral arms and legs. They appear to have been dismembered into several fragments. The descendant was in an advanced state of decomposition demonstrated by foul odor, discoloration, liquefaction. Notice approximately 1-inch linear defect on her abdomen and circular defect on her left flank. Now, the left ring and pinky fingers appear to have been mutilated. So this dude probably kept this as a trophy, man. What a weirdo. And I did not locate them during my scene examination, so they're missing, they're gone. She has a tattoo that reads "shh" on the side of her right index finger. I did not observe any discernible scars or tattoo. I don't even want to know what that weirdo and sicko is doing with those fingers. But his next court date is in like a week or two, so we're gonna keep on covering this. Let me know in the comment section, what are you guys' thoughts, man? Why do y'all think he did this, bruh? Because to me, it can't just be that she was gonna out him. Because there's other things like bribery, like you could, but to just murder this girl in the. Yo, let me know in the comment section, okay? And if you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video.
Blood. Like, maybe she was about to snitch on him or something. That's really the only thing that could have really made sense. Like, she was about to be like, nah, I'm done with this. Or they was breaking up. She was trying to leave him type beat. And she was finally getting over it. And he was not going to let her go. That's really how I see that jump playing out. Because overall, if you're in a situation like that, let me fix my camera. If you're in a situation like that, bro, 9 times out of 10, it's not realistically your decision, like, as the little ass girl. So why would you continue to sit there and stay around once you realize what's really going on? So he probably got it. Upset. And this was the outcome. But let me know in the comments, like you said, make sure to let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this topic. Do y'all think that David will be going to prison or no? Also, I want to hear y'all's opinions on just overall, like, violence, the family, like, what should be the repercussions, right? And for the people that were around them, last but not least would have to be make sure to check out any of the other videos that we posted. Check out Poetic Flacco's original video, and make sure to hit that link in the description. Get out of student loans, credit card debt, and medical bills today. Don't wait.